Jake Morrison had exactly 3 things on his mind when he stepped off the transport at Terminus Station: fix the atmospheric processors, collect his paycheck, and get home in time for his daughter's soccer game on Saturday. He did not have cause an intergalactic incident anywhere on that list. Terminus Station was impressive, sure. Massive ring-shaped structure floating in neutral space, home to about 40,000 aliens from who knows how many species, all living in what the travel brochure called harmonious cooperation, and what Jake would later describe as organized chaos with better lighting. The customs area looked like someone had designed it after watching every sci-fi movie ever made and deciding to use all the ideas at once. Jake shuffled forward in the queue behind something that looked like a walking fern, and in front of what he could only describe as a sentient oil slick with excellent posture. Standard procedure, the briefing had said. Simple biometric scan, threat assessment. Boom, you're through. Easy. The walking fern went through fine. Scanner beeped green, cheerful little musical tone. Off you go. The oil slick, same thing. Then it was Jake's turn. He stepped up to the scanner, a sleek cylindrical thing with more blinking lights than seemed strictly necessary, and placed his hand on the indicated panel. The machine hummed. Then it whined. Then it made a sound Jake's truck made right before he had to replace the transmission. Then it exploded, not like action movie exploded. More like it gave up on life, sparked dramatically, and died with what Jake swore sounded like a scream. Sparks showered everywhere. Alarms started blaring. Metal shutters slammed down over every exit. The oil slick made a noise of alarm and slithered away at impressive speed. Jake said, which in retrospect was probably not his most articulate moment. I didn't touch anything weird, I swear. A holographic display flickered to life above the smoking remains of the scanner. Red text, which Jake was pretty sure meant the same thing in every language. The words scrolled across. Apex Predator, Class Omega, Predator of Predators, evacuate immediately. Oh, come on, Jake muttered. That's when Commander Vrel arrived, and Jake's day went from weird to absolutely ridiculous. Commander Vrel was roughly the size of a golf cart, had 6 arms, a shell that looked like it could stop small arms fire, and the demeanor of a mall cop who'd just found his true calling. His eye stalks swiveled to focus on Jake with the kind of intensity usually reserved for hostage situations. Nobody move! Vrel's voice boomed through a translator that made him sound like a particularly aggressive vacuum cleaner. Containment field now? A shimmering blue barrier materialized around Jake before he could protest. He tapped it experimentally. Solid. Okay, so there's clearly been a misunderstanding, Jake started. Silence, Apex Predator. Vrel's claws clicked against his datapad with frantic energy. I am initiating protocol extinction event. A floating, translucent jellyfish creature drifted over, glowing a color that Jake's brain interpreted as exhausted beyond measure. This, he would learn, was Ambassador Kima, and she had the energy of someone who'd worked customer service for 20 years. Vrel, Kima said. Her voice like wind chimes played at half speed. Perhaps we're overreacting just a touch. The scanner is old. Maybe it malfunctioned. Malfunctioned? Vrel spun 3 of his arms in what might have been indignation. Ambassador, the threat assessment scanner has never malfunctioned in 300 cycles. It has processed 62,000 species, and this thing breaks it just by existing. This thing is a person, Jake said, from Earth. I'm here to fix your air processors. I have paperwork. Earth? Vrel's eye stalks contracted. Not in the database. Nothing from Sector 42B is in the database. Do you know why? Budget cuts? Jake tried. Because everything from that sector is either extinct or extincted others. You are a walking apocalypse scenario. Jake looked down at his worn work boots, his company jumpsuit with Morrison Atmospheric Solutions embroidered on the pocket, and his battered tool belt. He looked back up at Vrel. Buddy, he said, I'm from Cleveland. 30 minutes later, Jake was still in the containment field, which had been reinforced twice, and Commander Vrel had evacuated 3 entire decks. 3 decks. There were families up there. Someone's lunch got left behind. Jake felt terrible about it. This is completely unnecessary, Jake said for the 17th time. I literally just installed ductwork. I'm about as dangerous as a golden retriever. Vrel was not listening. Vrel was, in fact, giving what could only be described as a TED Talk to a growing crowd of station personnel about why Jake represented an existential threat to all life in the galaxy. Observe. Vrel pointed a claw at a holographic display. Every species in our database falls into clear categories: prey species, omnivore safe, low-level predator, mid-tier predator. We have thousands of examples. The Krell, prey species. The Naxxons, omnivore safe. The Drexy, low-level predator, mostly eat plants, occasionally eat bugs. Simple, understandable, safe. He pulled up another screen with a dramatic flourish. Humans? Not in the database. 0 records. Do you know what that means? That nobody filed the paperwork? Jake offered. It means you're so dangerous that any species that met you either died or suppressed the memory as psychological trauma. Ambassador Kima drifted closer, her color shifting to something Jake's brain translated as deep skepticism. Or it means his species hasn't left their planet much and nobody bothered with first contact protocols. Exactly, Vrel said triumphantly. They haven't left their planet. They've been contained on their own world, probably by their own design because they know what they are. Jake tried a different approach. He smiled. Friendly, non-threatening, the kind of smile that got him good tips from customers. Every alien in visual range flinched. The teeth! Vrel shrieked. Look at the teeth! Omnivore dentition, ripping and grinding capability. He can eat anything. I mostly eat sandwiches, Jake said, smile fading. Okay. Note to self, no smiling. He stretched a little, his back sore from the cramped transport. His shoulders popped. Predator flexibility. Vrel was on a roll now. Optimize skeletal structure for pursuit locomotion, and notice the patience. He's been standing there for 30 minutes without complaint. Classic stalking behavior. I'm just waiting for you to calm down, man. A new figure approached the group. This one looked like a bird if a bird was designed by a committee that had only heard birds described secondhand. Bright blue and green feathers, 4 eyes arranged in a way that probably made sense to someone, and talons that clicked on the station floor. Fascinating, the bird alien said, tilting her head at an angle that would have broken a human neck. Commander Vrel, I request permission to conduct a xenobiological assessment. Absolutely not, Dr. Nexus. It's too dangerous. He's in a containment field. He could escape. Could I, though? Jake gestured at the humming barrier. Because I really don't think I could. This seems pretty solid. Dr. Nexus's 4 eyes fixed on Jake with unnerving focus. You're remarkably calm for someone being treated as a threat. Yeah, well, I once had a building inspector tell me my work was going to kill everyone in a 10-block radius. Turned out he was reading the plans upside down. You develop a tolerance for overreaction. See? Dr. Nexus turned to Vrel. Stress tolerance. Problem-solving communication. He's attempting to de-escalate through humor and relatability. Classic social predator behavior. You're not helping, Jake said. Oh, I'm not trying to help you. I'm trying to understand you. There's a difference. She pulled out a scanner of her own, considerably smaller and less likely to explode. If Vrel won't let me conduct proper tests, I'll just have to do unauthorized ones. It's easier to apologize than ask permission. I like her, Jake said to Kima. The ambassador's color shifted to something that Jake interpreted as, of course you do. My life is a nightmare. Dr. Nexus circled the containment field, scanner humming. Binocular forward-facing vision, bipedal locomotion, opposable thumbs on manipulator appendages, minimal natural armor, no venom or claw systems. She made thoughtful chirping sounds. You're built for tool use and endurance. I mean, yeah. That's pretty much the human thing. We got smart instead of strong. Smart? Dr. Nexus's feathers ruffled. Commander, I need to run a full analysis. This is unprecedented. Everything about this creature is unprecedented, Vrel said. which is why it stays in containment until we determine if we need to quarantine its entire planet. My entire planet? Jake's voice went up an octave. There are 8 billion people there. You can't just quarantine Earth? 8 billion? Vrel backed up 3 steps. There are 8 billion of you? Yeah, that's not that much. We used to have more. Used to? I mean, the population is growing now, but there was a period where it dropped due to, wars and plagues and stuff. Dead silence in the customs area. You had enough wars and plagues to impact a population of billions, Kima said slowly, and you're still around to talk about it. Well, yeah, humans are pretty hard to kill. Jake realized his mistake immediately. I mean in a general species survival sense, not like individually. I'm super killable, very fragile, please don't test that. Vrel was typing so fast his claws were blurring. Updating threat assessment, high population numbers, survives mass casualty events, self-describes as difficult to eliminate. Ambassador, I'm recommending we escalate this to the council. I hate my job, Kima said to no one in particular. The council chamber was designed to be intimidating, which Jake figured out pretty quickly. Circular room, seats rising in tiers, dramatic lighting, the works. Every seat was filled with a different alien species, all staring at him like he was a bomb that might go off at any second. Jake stood in his containment field in the center of the room, feeling like the world's worst show-and-tell project. Dr. Nexus had somehow gotten permission to present her findings, which Vrel clearly regretted approximately 4 seconds after agreeing to it. Esteemed Council, Dr. Nexus began, her image projected large on multiple screens because apparently even alien scientists loved a good PowerPoint presentation. I've completed my analysis of the human specimen, and I can confidently say that everything we thought we knew about predator classification is inadequate. Great start, Jake thought, really selling the I'm harmless angle. Let's begin with the obvious. An image of Jake appeared on screen. He looked confused and slightly annoyed, which was accurate. Binocular, forward-facing eyes. Every ambush and pursuit predator in the known galaxy has this trait. Humans have it. Next, bipedal locomotion optimized for endurance rather than speed. Which means, a council member who looked like a very official rock asked, it means they don't sprint down prey. They just follow it until it collapses from exhaustion. Persistence hunting, the most psychologically damaging form of predation in nature. I mostly use it to walk to the store, Jake interjected. Silence, please. Now, dietary analysis. The screen showed human teeth in uncomfortable detail. Omnivorous dentition, incisors for cutting, canines for tearing, molars for grinding. They can eat anything. Plant matter, animal flesh, whatever's available. A council member near the back made a distressed sound. But here's where it gets interesting. Humans have opposable thumbs and advanced tool creation capabilities. They don't need natural weapons because they make their own. Ranged weapons, projectiles. They throw things with accuracy that shouldn't be possible for a prey species except they're not prey. We play baseball, Jake said. It's a game, for fun. You practice hunting skills for recreation, Dr. Nexus corrected. Furthermore, humans are pack hunters. Social predators with complex communication and cooperative strategies. They can coordinate attacks with precision. We call them team projects and everyone hates them, Jake muttered. Dr. Nexus pulled up a new image and Jake's heart sank. It was his phone's wallpaper. Him and Rex at the park. Rex mid-jump catching a frisbee, both of them clearly having the time of their lives. 3 council members fainted. This, Dr. Nexus said with dramatic flair, is a canis familiaris, a wolf, an apex predator in its own right. Notice that it appears to be playing with the human. This is because humans domesticate other predators, for companionship. That's my dog, Rex, Jake said desperately. He's a good boy. He likes belly rubs and chasing squirrels. He's afraid of the vacuum cleaner. The human has formed a pack bond with another predator species and modified its behavior through selective breeding over thousands of generations. Dr. Nexus continued, ignoring him. This implies long-term strategic thinking and the ability to reshape other species to their needs. A council member who looked like sentient coral raised a tentacle, Dr. Nexus, are you saying humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy? No. I'm saying humans are what happens when evolution looks at all the predator advantages, gives them to one species, adds problem-solving intelligence and social cooperation, and then forgets to add an off switch. That's not exactly, Jake tried. They have persistence, tools, pack tactics, omnivorous capability, and the ability to survive in almost any environment. They're not the strongest or fastest or most venomous. They're worse. They're adaptable. They're creative. And they work together. The council erupted in overlapping translators. Jake caught fragments. Quarantine Earth. Close the sector. Unprecedented threat. Wait! Jake held up his hands. Wrong move. Hands are scary, apparently. Everyone flinched again. Okay, everyone just please calm down. Yes, technically humans are predators. But we're nice predators. We've been nice for thousands of years. We have laws and ethics and society. You said you had wars, Vrel pointed out. Well, yeah, but we're working on that. We're getting better. Most humans will go their entire lives without hunting anything bigger than a really good deal at the grocery store. What? A council member asked slowly. Is a grocery store? It's a place where we store food, all kinds of food. Plants, meat, whatever. You go in, pick what you want, pay for it, and leave. You've built specialized structures for food storage and distribution? The coral being sounded fascinated and horrified. Yeah? How do you guys get food? We grow it or synthesize it as needed. Storage implies you're gathering resources for extended survival. It implies we invented refrigeration. Jake was getting frustrated. Look, everything you're describing makes humans sound terrifying, but you're missing the point. We're also the species that cries at movies. We adopt animals that can't survive on their own. We invented the concept of dessert, which is food you eat when you're not hungry just because it tastes good. We're not monsters. Dr. Nexus tilted her head. You're emotionally complex predators with surplus resource capacity and pack-bonding instincts that extend beyond your species. That's somehow worse. How is that worse? Because it means you are successful enough at predation that you have energy left over for abstract concepts like entertainment and empathy. That's apex behavior. Jake wanted to argue, but he was starting to see how this looked from the outside. Humans did sound terrifying if you listed everything like that. They also sounded awesome, which was probably not helping his case. Ambassador Kima drifted to the center of the room. Counsel, if I may. The human makes a valid point. Behavior matters more than capability. He's been cooperative, patient, and non-aggressive despite being treated as a threat. Stalking behavior, Vrel muttered, but quieter now. Or, Kima countered, civilized behavior. Perhaps we should judge him by his actions rather than his biology. The council murmured among themselves. Jake tried to look as non-threatening as possible, which mostly meant standing very still and trying not to think about how he'd been standing still for 2 hours now without complaint, which was apparently predator behavior. He really couldn't win. The council's decision was to keep Jake in comfortable observation while they figured out what to do about Earth. Jake's definition of comfortable and theirs differed significantly. His holding cell was nice, sure, luxury by most standards. Big window with a view of space, adjustable gravity, a bed that tried very hard to be human-appropriate and mostly succeeded. But it was still a cell, and Jake was still a prisoner, and his daughter's soccer game was in 4 days. They'd given him what they called a cultural liaison, which turned out to be a moth person named Tix, who was approximately 7 feet tall, covered in soft gray fur, and scared absolutely witless of Jake. It's okay, Jake said for the 100th time. I'm not going to eat you. Tix's antennae vibrated with anxiety. That's what a predator would say before eating someone. Tix, buddy, you're like twice my size. If anyone's eating anyone here, you got better odds. I'm a pollinator. I drink nectar. I don't even have biting mouth parts. Jake sighed and sat on the floor, making himself smaller. Look, I know I'm scary on paper, but I've been here for 6 hours and the scariest thing I've done is ask for a coffee, which apparently doesn't exist in space. So can we just, I don't know, talk like normal people? Tix's antennae stopped vibrating quite as much. What would we talk about? Anything. You guys have sports, music, what do moths do for fun? We navigate by starlight and discuss optimal flower density patterns. That's actually kind of cool. Different from human stuff, but cool. They sat in silence for a moment. Jake pulled out a protein bar from his tool belt pocket, something the security screening had somehow missed. He broke it in half and offered part to Tix. Tix stared at it like it might explode. Is this some kind of predator threat? It's called sharing. It's a human thing. We do it with friends. Jake took a bite of his half. See? Not poison. Probably. It's been in my pocket for a week, so no promises on taste. Slowly, with visible trepidation, Tix took the offered piece, sniffed it, nibbled a corner. It's sweet. Yeah, they pack them with sugar. Not great for you, but they keep forever. You store food on your person for emergencies. I store snacks for when I'm hungry. Not everything is predator behavior, Tix. But he could see Tix mentally filing that away under predator behavior anyway. Over the next few hours, Jake tried to explain human culture. Every attempt backfired spectacularly. So you celebrate something called Thanksgiving, Tix said, reviewing a datapad, where you gather your pack and consume massive quantities of food, including a large bird. Turkey, yeah. We eat until we can't move and then watch sports on TV. It's about being grateful for what you have. It sounds like a feeding frenzy. It's family bonding. Over the corpse of another species. Jake pinched the bridge of his nose. Okay, different topic. We also have pets, dogs, cats, birds, fish, hamsters. Yes, Dr. Nexus mentioned you keep predators as companions. Not just predators. Hamsters are prey animals. We keep them in cages and feed them and give them toys. You imprison prey species for entertainment. We protect them. In the wild, they'd get eaten by actual predators. So you've eliminated their natural predators and made them dependent on you for survival. When you say it like that, it sounds bad. Tix's antennae drooped. Everything about humans sounds bad, Jake. Jake flopped back on the bed. What about medicine? We have doctors and vaccines. We inject ourselves with weakened diseases to build immunity. That's gotta sound good, right? We're protecting ourselves? You voluntarily inject yourself with diseases. Weakened diseases. You expose yourself to pathogens on purpose. To build immunity. You've developed such strong immune systems that you train them with actual diseases as preparation for worse diseases. I give up. A chime sounded at the door. Dr. Nexus entered without waiting for permission, which seemed to be her standard operating procedure. She held a datapad and looked disturbingly excited. Jake, I need to ask you about human childhood development. Oh no. Is it true that human children play something called tag? Yeah, it's just a game. You run around, someone's it, they tag someone else, that person becomes it. Everyone has fun. Dr. Nexus's four eyes widened. You train your young in pursuit and evasion tactics. We teach them to run around outside instead of staring at screens. And hide and seek? Are you going through Earth's Wikipedia? You train them in stealth and tracking. It's a children's game. Your children practice hunting behaviors before they're old enough to hunt. Jake sat up. Dr. Nexus, with all due respect, you're looking at everything through a predator lens. Yeah, humans have predator traits. But we also have art and music and poetry. We have people who dedicate their lives to healing others. We have teachers who spend decades helping children learn. We're not just teeth and hunting instincts. Dr. Nexus tilted her head. I know. That's what makes you fascinating. You're apex predators who built a civilization based on cooperation and knowledge sharing. You're predators who decided to be more than your nature. Thank you, that's what I've been trying to... Wait, did you just compliment humanity? I'm nearly finished with my thesis. Working title, Pursuit, Predation, and Pack Dynamics, Why Humans Are Statistically Unkillable. I'm hoping for publication in the Galactic Xenobiology Journal. That title is not helping my case. It's accurate. She made a note on her datapad. Your species survived ice ages, plagues, wars, natural disasters, and your own tendency toward self-destruction. You're like the galaxy's cockroaches, but with opposable thumbs and space travel capability. I feel like cockroaches is somehow worse than apex predator. Tix had been quietly watching this exchange. Dr. Nexus, do you think humans are dangerous? Oh, absolutely, terrifyingly so. But danger and threat aren't the same thing. She looked at Jake. A threat is something that wants to hurt you. Danger is something that could hurt you if mishandled. Humans are dangerous. Whether they're a threat depends on the individual human and the situation. That's surprisingly reasonable, Jake said. I'm a scientist. Reason is literally my job. She turned to leave, then paused. Also, I saw you share food with Tix. Pack bonding behavior is extremely difficult to fake. You're either genuinely friendly or the most patient predator in galactic history. I'm genuinely friendly. Good, we'll need that. She left without explaining. Jake looked at Tix. What did she mean by that? Tix's antennae vibrated. I don't know, but with Dr. Nexus it's either very good or very bad. There's no middle ground. Jake had a feeling his day was about to get weirder. The alarm started at 0300 station time, which Jake knew because it woke him from a dead sleep. Not the gentle wake-up kind of alarm either. The everyone's going to die kind of alarm. Tix crashed through the door, all professional calm completely abandoned. Jake, we have a situation. What kind of situation requires waking me up? Jake grabbed his tool belt out of habit. Is something broken? Something is eating the station. That woke him up. What? They rushed to the command center where controlled chaos had given way to uncontrolled panic. Every screen showed the same thing. A massive, writhing creature attached to the station's outer hull like a cosmic lamprey. It was maybe twice the size of a bus, all tentacles and teeth and bioluminescent patterns that probably looked pretty if they weren't currently horrifying. Commander Vrel was clicking through screens with all 6 arms. It's a void leviathan. Class 7 energy parasite, it's draining our reactor. Can we shoot it? Jake asked, because that seemed like the obvious solution. Our weapons are designed for deterrence and disabling, Ambassador Kima explained. Her color a shade Jake's brain interpreted as panic mixed with resignation. Not hunting. We don't hunt things, Jake. Nobody hunts things. We're civilized. It's hunting you right now. That's different. It's a mindless predator. It doesn't know any better. Jake stared at the screen. The Leviathan had latched onto the reactor housing and was pulsing rhythmically. Every pulse corresponded with a drop in station power. Okay, what do we know about it? Weaknesses, behavioral patterns? Dr. Nexus pulled up data. Void Leviathans are attracted to energy signatures. They feed on reactor cores, star radiation, anything high output. They're incredibly resilient, can survive in hard vacuum, and have never been successfully driven off a station once attached. Never? 7 previous incidents. All ended with station evacuation and loss of structure. We have maybe 4 hours before reactor failure. Jake studied the screens. The creature's movement, the way it was positioned, the rhythmic feeding pulse. His construction worker brain, trained to look at systems and find problems, started clicking through possibilities. It's just an animal, he said finally. Everyone stared at him. What? Vrel's eye stalks contracted. Just an animal? It's a void leviathan. Yeah, but it's not thinking. It's not planning. It just found a food source and latched on. It's like a tick. A tick the size of a spacecraft, Kima pointed out. Doesn't matter. Ticks, leeches, lampreys, same basic concept. They attach, they feed, they're hard to remove, but not impossible. We don't have time for your human optimism, Vrel said. I'm ordering evacuation protocols. We've lost this station. Or, Jake said, you could let me try something. Dead silence. Absolutely not, Vrel said. Absolutely yes, Dr. Nexus countered. Think about it, Commander. We're a station of prey species trying to deal with a predator species. We're not equipped for this. But Jake is. He's a maintenance worker. He's an apex predator. This is literally what his species evolved to handle. Jake held up his hands. I don't want to hunt it. I just want to make it leave. Make the station unpleasant so it goes somewhere else. How? Kima asked. Jake pulled up the station schematics. Okay, it's attached here, near the reactor. That's the warmest part of the station, highest energy output. What if we make that area very, very uncomfortable? Channel coolant through the hull plating, drop the temperature, maybe run an electrical current through the outer hull to give it a shock. That could damage the hull integrity, Vrel said. The Leviathan is already damaging hull integrity. We're just encouraging it to leave. Tick spoke up quietly. It's like making a plant taste bad so insects don't eat it? Exactly. You get it, Tix. Jake pointed at his moth friend. We don't have to kill it. We just have to make it decide dinner isn't worth the trouble. Dr. Nexus was already pulling up secondary systems. We'd need to reroute coolant from life support, reconfigure the electrical grid, and manually access the hull junction points. Dangerous, time-consuming, and requires someone to spacewalk near an active predator. I'll do it, Jake said. You'll die, Vrel said flatly. Maybe, but probably not. Humans are really good at not dying. Jake grabbed his tool belt. Plus, I'm already here, and I've got about 8 billion people back home who'd be really annoyed if I let you guys quarantine Earth because you couldn't handle one space creature. Ambassador Kima's color shifted through several shades. This is insane. This is humanity in a nutshell, Dr. Nexus said, and she sounded almost proud. Jake suited up in a borrowed EVA suit that fit weird but worked well enough. Tix insisted on coming, partly to help, and partly, Jake suspected, because the moth person was surprisingly brave once you got past the initial terror. The spacewalk was exactly as terrifying as Jake expected. The void Leviathan up close was worse than on screens. It had too many eyes, and they all tracked him as he approached. But it didn't attack. It just pulsed and fed, because that's what it did. Okay, Tix, I need you to help me access the coolant junction. It's that panel there. Tix's hands shook but held steady. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Welcome to humanity's general approach to problems. They worked methodically, reroute coolant, reconfigure electrical systems. Every few minutes the Leviathan would shift, and Jake's heart would stop, but it stayed focused on feeding. It didn't see them as threats, just minor annoyances near its food source. Coolant ready, Jake called back to the command center. Electrical charge ready. This is going to make it angry, so everyone hold on to something. We're in space, Vrel said. What are we holding on to? I don't know. It's a figure of speech. Just be ready. Jake activated both systems simultaneously. The effect was immediate. The hull plating around the Leviathan dropped to near freezing in seconds. The electrical charge pulsed through the metal with a visible arc. The creature's bioluminescent patterns flared bright, then angry red. It thrashed. It's working, Dr. Nexus sounded delighted. It's releasing its grip. Not completely. Jake watched the readouts. Tix, we need to increase the charge. Can you access the secondary power coupling? That's right next to it. I know. That's why I'm asking you instead of telling you. Tix made a sound that was probably a moth curse, but he moved. He flew, actually, something Jake hadn't seen him do before. Moth wings unfurling in the vacuum, using compressed air from his suit for propulsion. He reached the coupling, made the adjustment, and the electrical charge tripled. The Leviathan let go. It drifted away from the station, still thrashing, patterns flashing in what Jake interpreted as extreme annoyance. But it was leaving. Slowly, angrily, but definitely leaving. Holy shit, Jake breathed. We did it. Language, Tix said, then laughed. Actual laughter. We made an unkillable predator give up. We made dinner unappetizing, completely different. They watched the Leviathan drift off into the dark, probably looking for an easier meal. Jake felt a strange mix of triumph and sympathy. The thing was just trying to eat. Not its fault the galaxy didn't know how to deal with actual predators. Back in the command center, something unexpected happened. Commander Vrel approached Jake, all 6 arms in what might have been a salute or a gesture of respect. You saved the station. I just encouraged it to leave. By thinking like a predator. None of us could have done that. We're not built for it. Vrel's eye stalks lowered slightly. I may have overreacted to your threat assessment. You think? But I maintain that you're dangerous. I am dangerous, but I'm not a threat. There's a difference. Vrel clicked his claws thoughtfully. Dr. Nexus said something similar. She's a smart bird. The council reconvened the next day, and the atmosphere was completely different. Jake stood in the center again, but this time without the containment field. Baby steps. Ambassador Kima addressed the assembly. After yesterday's incident, we need to reassess our position on humans and Earth. They saved the station, the coral being said. Using predator tactics, yes, but with restraint. He could have killed the Leviathan. Could he have, though? Another council member asked. Probably not easily, Jake admitted. But I could have made it suffer more. Didn't seem necessary. It was just hungry. Dr. Nexus stepped forward, her thesis datapad clutched in her talons. Council, I've completed my comprehensive analysis. Humans are apex predators. This is inarguable. But they're apex predators who chose civilization over conquest. They're pack hunters who extended their pack to include other species. They're persistence predators who redirected that persistence toward building instead of destroying. They still have wars, someone pointed out. They're working on it, Dr. Nexus said, which is more than most species can say. They identify their flaws and actively try to fix them. That's remarkable. Jake felt weird being talked about like he wasn't there, but he stayed quiet. This was going better than expected. Commander Vrel stood, which took effort given his low center of gravity. I have spent my entire career protecting this station from threats. I evaluated the human as a threat and responded accordingly. I was wrong about the nature of the threat, but not about the danger. He looked at Jake. You are dangerous. Undeniably so. But yesterday you proved that danger can be directed, controlled, used for protection rather than harm. Is this an apology? Jake asked. This is an acknowledgement of tactical error and a reassessment of threat parameters. I'll take it. The council voted. It was surprisingly quick. Humans would be added to the galactic database with a special designation. Ambassador Kima read it aloud with the tone of someone who'd fought very hard for this wording. Species, human, origin, Earth, Sector 42B, classification, apex predator, domesticated, threat level, situational. Notes, capable of extreme danger but demonstrates consistent prosocial behavior and pack bonding across species barriers. Approach with caution and respect. Do not threaten their pack. Domesticated, Jake said. I feel like that's insulting. It means you're safe unless provoked, Dr. Nexus explained. Like your dog Rex. Technically capable of biting but chooses not to because he's a good boy. Jake thought about it. Okay, I can live with that. There is one condition, Vrel said. You must still fix our atmospheric processors. That's what you're here for. Oh, thank God, finally. Jake pulled out his actual work orders. I've been trying to tell you guys, I'm just here to do a job. Can we please let me do my actual job now? Permission granted. Tix will escort you. Tix's antennae perked up. I will? You've survived extended contact with a human. You're qualified. I'm qualified because I didn't die? Exactly. 3 hours later, Jake was elbow deep in an atmospheric processor junction, finally doing what he'd been paid to do. Tix hovered nearby, holding tools and asking questions about human engineering. So you just bypass the secondary filter and reroute through the primary manifold? Yep. Your system's overcomplicated. Probably because it was designed by a committee. How did you know that? Because it's got 5 redundant safety systems that all do the same thing and contradict each other. Classic committee design. Jake torqued a bolt. Back home we call it design by bureaucracy. We prefer the term collaborative engineering. Sure you do. Hand me the torque wrench. They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Jake had to admit, despite the rough start, he kind of liked it here. The station was interesting, the aliens were weird but friendly once you got past the initial terror, and the work was solid. Jake? Tix said quietly. Yeah? Thank you for not eating me. Jake laughed so hard he nearly dropped his wrench. Tix, buddy, we've been over this. I was never going to eat you. I know that now. But for a while there, I was genuinely concerned. Fair enough. For a while there, I was genuinely concerned Vrel was going to space me. He considered it. Not helping Tix. Dr. Nexus found them as Jake was finishing up. She looked pleased with herself, which probably meant something had either gone very right or very wrong. My thesis was accepted for publication. The journal fast-tracked it given recent events. Congrats. Am I famous now? You're a case study in apex predator behavioral adaptation, so yes, academically famous. She tilted her head. The journal wants to interview you. Hard pass. I'm going home to watch my daughter play soccer. About that. Dr. Nexus pulled up a datapad. The Council has authorized Earth for general contact, diplomatic relations, trade agreements, cultural exchange. Humans are officially part of the galactic community now. Jake set down his tools. Wait, seriously? Seriously, Ambassador Kima is drafting the first contact protocols now. Dr. Nexus's feathers ruffled with amusement. Fair warning. She's putting a special note in the file about not scanning humans with the threat assessment scanner. Apparently buying new ones is expensive. I still feel bad about that. Don't. It was old anyway. Needed replacing. Jake finished the last connection and powered up the atmospheric processor. It hummed to life, smooth and efficient, exactly as it should be. There. All fixed. Air quality should stabilize in about 6 hours. Excellent work, Tix said. That's literally my job. This is what I do, fix things. Jake started packing his tools. Speaking of which, I need to catch my transport back to Earth. Gotta get home. About your daughter's soccer game, Dr. Nexus said. What's soccer? It's a sport. You kick a ball into a goal. Very simple, very fun. You practice coordinated pack hunting with a symbolic prey object. Or, and hear me out here, it's just a game that kids play for exercise and teamwork. Those are the same thing from different perspectives. Jake sighed. You're going to analyze everything humans do, aren't you? It's my job. I'm a xenobiologist. This is what I do. Fair enough. They walked back toward the docking bay, Tix and Dr. Nexus flanking him like an honor guard. Other aliens moved out of the way, but less out of fear now and more out of respect. Word had spread about the Leviathan incident. Jake had gone from terrifying unknown to terrifying but helpful, which he figured was progress. Ambassador Kima met them at the docking bay. Her color, a shade Jake had learned, meant exhausted but satisfied. Jake Morrison, on behalf of Terminus Station and the Galactic Council, thank you for your service. Both the contracted atmospheric work and the uncontracted life-saving work. Just doing what needed doing. Very human of you. She drifted closer. I've transmitted Earth's coordinates and a preliminary contact package to your government. Expect official first contact within the next standard cycle. Try to prepare your people. We don't want them to panic. Ambassador, we've been hoping for aliens since we figured out space was big. Trust me, Earth's ready. Are they ready for the galaxy to be scared of them? Jake thought about that. Probably not, but we'll figure it out. That's kind of our thing. Commander Vrel approached, which Jake hadn't expected. The big crustacean extended one claw in what might have been a handshake, or might have been a threat display. Jake decided to assume the best and shook it. Human Jake, I misjudged you. You were protecting your people. I get it. Next time a human visits this station, I will not initiate protocol extinction event. That's all I ask. I will initiate protocol extreme caution instead. Baby steps, Commander. Jake boarded his transport, tool belt secure, work orders complete, and Galaxy officially aware that humans existed. Not bad for a week's work. As the transport pulled away from Terminus Station, Jake pulled out his phone and messaged his wife. Job done. Headed home. You won't believe the week I had. Also, we might be getting alien visitors soon. Long story. Her response came back immediately. Did you break something expensive? Define expensive. Jake. I'll explain when I get home. Love you. He leaned back in his seat, watching Terminus Station shrink in the viewport. Somewhere on that station, Dr. Nexus was probably already working on her next paper. Tix was probably telling everyone about the crazy human who shared food and fixed things. Vrel was probably updating his security protocols to account for friendly apex predators. And Ambassador Kima was probably dealing with the political nightmare of introducing Earth to a galaxy that thought they were scary. Jake smiled. His daughter's soccer game was in 2 days. He'd make it. And someday, maybe she'd play soccer on an alien world with alien kids, teaching them that humans weren't monsters, just people. Dangerous people, sure, but people who chose to be more than their nature. The transport jumped to FTL, and Earth's sun appeared in the distance. Jake Morrison, construction worker from Cleveland, apex predator and predator of predators, was going home. And the galaxy would never be quite the same.